Welcome back. A reminder for the thousands of drivers here in Vegas, the new distracted driving law went into full effect over the weekend to help keep drivers and passengers safe. That now changes what you can and cannot do while in your car.
That's right. Here to tell us what can happen if we break the law is Heather Harris of Harris & Harris Lawyers. Heather, how are you?
Welcome back.
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me back again.
We got to let people know what the law is now that we're effectively, in it now. What is the new law? How does it affect us?
Well, the law actually went into effect in October, but that's something that
they haven't fined on it until now.
Exactly, yeah. And it's something that some drivers decided to take advantage of, and they continued to text and talk while they were driving because they knew they weren't going to be fined. Now, as of January 1st, people will be fined if they're caught using their cell phone while they're driving, either talking on their phone or texting. You can't use a handheld device at all.
So if I reach over to put and connect my Bluetooth, and an officer sees me, but I'm just quickly dialing to get the number punched up and then go through the system. Is that okay?
Yeah.
No, you actually shouldn't be doing that either. You shouldn't be using your handheld device in any way while you're driving. If you want to use a Bluetooth device, that is still legal to do, but you need to set it up before you actually start.
Yeah, make sure you're paired before that happens.
Exactly. And you can't do it while you're sitting at a stoplight, which a lot of people love to do, and they feel like that's some downtime that they can.
That's 3 minutes at a light, but you can't do that.
No, and we all know how annoying it is if you're sitting at the light and the person in front of you has just sat there and stopped and they're not going, and then everyone has to sit and wait through another light.
Yes.
Let's talk about the fines, too, for people that break this law.
Well, in addition to taking a really serious risk with your life and the lives of others, which unfortunately we see at our law practice all the time, you could be fined, and you will be fined if you're caught doing it. It's $50 for the first offense, $150 for the second, and then any offense thereafter, you're going to be fined $250 every time. Hopefully, people will learn before that happens.
No question. Are there numbers and statistics tied towards texting and driving accidents?
There are a lot of statistics, and all of them show how dangerous it truly is. People are 4 times more likely to be in an accident if they are using a handheld device while they're driving. In 2009 alone, 5,500 people in America were killed directly as a proven result of being distracted by a handheld device. That number is likely much higher because we can't always show exactly what caused an accident. But over 500,000 people in America in 2009 were injured in an accident, and it's important for people, an accident caused by distracted driving because of a handheld device, and it's important for people to remember that.
There are a lot of people that come from out of state that don't have this law where they're from, and then they come here and they don't know that, or perhaps they're ignoring it. But can you use that as an excuse? I didn't know because I don't live here.
Not an excuse.
Not likely, no.
You can't avoid the law just by saying you didn't know about it. You're required to know. And we're not the only state. I believe Nevada is the 34th state in the United States.
So it's the majority of states.
The majority of states now are actually following this law, and the National Department of Transportation has actually made a recommendation. It's not a law, but a recommendation that all handheld devices are banned entirely, even using Bluetooth, because it is such a distraction.
That may come one day, but right now that is not the case.
Exactly.
Now, Harris & Harris, you've been working hard to try to stop these accidents from happening. What have you been doing?
Well, we represent people that are injured in these types of accidents all the time, and that's one of the reasons that I'm here today. We see the end result of what happens when people are driving distracted and using a handheld device. Just last week, I was at the hospital visiting a client who was rear-ended by a woman who was not paying attention, didn't hit her brakes because she was paying attention to her phone. Our client was sitting at a stoplight, following the law, minding her own business, and ended up several days in the hospital with very serious injuries. It's very important that people remember that it's not just an inconvenience. If you get into a fender bender, you can change someone's life, or you can end their life.
No question.
So we really want to try and avoid seeing that happen, and hope that people pay attention to this new law.
All right, and besides, getting the word out with this, tell us about what your firm does for people.
Well,
that you can handle.
We represent people that are injured in a lot of different ways, but as we all know, anyone who's driven in Las Vegas knows that the roads can be dangerous.
A little bit.
People get in accidents all the time, and we do have a very high percentage of our clients are people that were injured in car accidents. unfortunately, it does happen every day, but that's what we're here to do, is represent people and help them through the process and make sure that they get good legal advice from the very beginning when they're in an accident.
Last time you were in, you said, you predicted, as it's been for the past several years, that December would be, sadly, a big month for these accidents, and it was again.
It was, and it's one of those things where we do see an extremely high increase of accidents during that 5-week period between Thanksgiving and New Year's. People are rushing, people aren't paying attention to what they're doing. They're trying to multitask while they're driving, which is one of the things this new cell phone law is trying to prevent. And we did get a lot of new clients in that were injured because of that. People spending the holidays in the hospital, which isn't a good place to be.
Yeah, I've been in a car accident, a hit and run too, from the rear ended, and it's not fun at all.
No.
And you change so many people's lives, and then you think, and they took off, and then you think, what happened? It's just crazy, some of these drivers.
Absolutely, and some people are going to stop and feel responsible for what they did and take responsibility for it. Some people may be under the influence. Some people maybe don't have the correct insurance. They get scared. Who knows? But
well, texting while driving is equivalent to being under the influence to some sort.
There have been studies that have actually shown that texting while driving is worse than driving under the influence, because you are paying so much attention. People think you just look down for a second. Well, it's not a second. You're actually taking more time than you think, and you're taking your full attention away from the road. That's when people in crosswalks get run over. That's when people get hit from behind because they're stopped at a stoplight. The other driver isn't paying attention.
And that's one of the major things, too. The car accidents were actually down last year from the year prior, but the crosswalk accidents were higher.
Yes, and we definitely saw that in Las Vegas. It's a terrible thing, because usually these are people that are minors, or maybe have an issue where they're trying to walk and they can't get across quickly enough, and people become impatient or they're not paying attention.
All right, Heather, thank you so much for these great tips and good reminders, too.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me here again.
Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
All right, Harris & Harris Lawyers is located on South Rancho Drive. For more information on Heather's firm, call the number or check out the website on your screen. Still ahead.